So since he's been released on bond, the only thing that we do know is that he was heavily photographed leaving jail. He's been staying with the Rubbers. Anna has been bringing the children to come visit him while he is at the Rubbers house. Again, he can have unlimited access to his children as long as Anna is present. This means that if she does give birth before the trial, he can be there as long as she's there. He can't be in a room alone with a minor. I'm not getting back into that discussion though. We now know that pre-trial is a week or so before November 30th and trial starts November 30th. The extension was granted by the courts. We will be covering that. And unless anything else pops up, this is all that we know so far. We do know that on our end, and I can speak for all 216,000 of us, we all believe he's guilty. Obviously, the very, very, very apparent evidence is there. And a lot of people keep asking me why they're taking so long. The FBI and U.S. Marshals take a long time to build their cases. That's why they have the highest conviction rate. Do I personally think he's going to go to jail? Yes. Do I think he's going to go for the full amount of time? Probably not. But it's very clear that JB had a hand in where Trash is staying right now. It's very apparent that he'll do anything to protect his child and not the minor children involved. And it makes me fucking sick. See you later. That was public admission and everyone at this hearing knows it. This concerns the court. What's particularly concerning is the age of Trash's sisters and the age of the children involved with the charges against him. The court is mindful, however, that this conduct happened a long time ago and it happened when Trash was a child. That fact and that fact alone are in Trash's favor. It is concerning to the court that Trash is committed, that he has an issue with P, that it's different than CP, but what the court has heard is that prior to images being downloaded to Trash's computer, Covenant Eyes was installed, which is a program that acts as a deterrent. The court also has heard testimony that Trash's wife may have been his accountability partner on that. The court is not making a determination on that, but it concerns the court. The court is concerned that the ages of the children involved are very similar to the ages of Trash's children and the ages of his nieces and nephews. The court keeps coming back to the age of children Josh interacts with on a daily basis and is concerned. Seriousness of the danger Trash poses to the community, the court does not know. Trash has not been convicted of being a danger to anyone. There is no criminal history that suggests Trash has displayed a pattern of violence to anyone, but Trash's children, his siblings' children, and his minor brother and sisters are all a part of the community that needs to be protected from him. But you let him out. This is a very close call. The U.S. Attorney has not met its burden. We now know that Trash will be released. He was released the next day on very strict conditions. Cannot be returned to his guest house or TTA. The court is not interested in second chances. Don't fuck up with the Rubbers. That was paraphrased. That's how I would say it. Tomorrow, Trash will be released to the Rubbers with close GPS monitoring, restricted to this residence except for working, education, church, medical service, meeting with lawyers, court-ordered obligation, or other activities approved in advance by the probation office. May not possess or view P or erotica of any kind. The court does not think it has the technology to limit Trash's use. Trash cannot have computers, phones, smart TVs, gaming systems, etc. He may not ask for the passwords from the Rubbers or her daughter. Trash can get a jitterbug phone to contact counsel as long as it's approved by the probation officer. We talked about this a couple days ago. Trash can have unlimited contact with his children as long as their mother is present. Josh cannot have contact with any other minor children, including siblings, family members, piano students, etc. Not a requirement, but a recommendation. Plan activities based on who he might run into, avoid birthday parties, etc. Cannot actually or constructively possess a firearm, must surrender passport and not obtain a new passport, may not violate any state or local laws, must provide a DNA sample, must appear in court as requested, and tomorrow must sign an appearance bond. Closing. Trash is presumed innocent of what he is accused of. A detention hearing is not a place to try this case. 2 prongs under the Bail Reform Act. Number 1, flight risk. DHS executed search warrant in November 2019, 17 months ago, but Trash has not fled since then. Voluntarily surrendered without issue. Not a danger to the community. If law enforcement thought that he was a danger, they could have detained him back in 2019, but they didn't. Probation officer Wen testified that he has been fully compliant since he's been arrested. Judge asked the Rubbers point blank if they were willing to report the probation office first, and they said yes. Law points against detention and the facts point against detention. Court's taking a brief recess to collect thoughts and look through evidence. Asked Trash if he's doing okay or where he is in the detention center, and all he responded was sitting on a metal stool, Your Honor. You should be sitting behind bars, Your Honor. So we're now into the judge's decision. The judge's thoughts. The nature of circumstances of charges against Trash. Presumed innocent, but one count carries a mandatory 5-year sentence. Count 2 could carry a sentence of 20 years based on the evidence admitted at trial. Court views these charges are very serious. The court is concerned about the evidence describing those charges. It is concerning that the DD file is some of the worst SACP that he has ever seen in thousands of cases. That concerns the court. The age of the victims concerns the court. The sophistication of the person who downloaded the images concerns the court. It is not the average defendant who can access the dark web, who can use partition devices, and who can bypass significant surveillance programs. Children are involuntary victims of P and SA. They're subject often to human trafficking and other circumstances we don't have time in this court to address. The demand and download of CP fields the market for the production of this material. The forensic evidence suggests that a significant amount of effort was made to download a significant amount of CSM. The weight of the evidence is not insubstantial. This also weighs against Trash. So they have tons of evidence against him. History and characteristics of Trash. Trash has had a long history in Northwest Arkansas. He's married, has children, has no drug or alcohol history. It seems that Trash has been involved in various businesses in Arkansas. He turned himself in and does not appear to have a history of other crimes. Trash did not seem to obstruct any investigation. The court does not need to treat Trash differently than anyone else similarly situated. However, Trash's family has chosen to make their family life public. Although Trash has never been convicted of any crime, he has admitted in the past to touching children, which concerns the court. And these were questions from the judge. Willing to remove firearms if Trash is released to his custody. Will under no circumstances reveal his password to his phone or computers to Trash. If you or your wife or your daughter observe or learn about a violation by Mr. Trash, I need to hear you say that your first call will be to the U.S. probation officers who are supervising these cases. Or this case. He said yes. Judge, the time for prayer and conversations with JB and the elders of the church, that will happen after calling the probation office. Defense closed their case and closing arguments now. Moving to the closing argument. Here we go. Judge asked both sides to keep closing arguments to 3 to 5 minutes since it was getting late. Josh intentionally used BitTorrent to receive CP, intentionally used a Linux partition to hide what he was doing. Covenant eyes did not pick up on what was going on behind the partition. So this is proven that they literally couldn't see what was going on the Covenant eyes side that I'm sure Meech and Jim Bob and Anna definitely had access to. Josh took steps to conceal his activity by doing it on his work computer and avoid the recognition of Covenant eyes. A description of how horrific the CP found on Trash's computer was. Emphasized that the partition was password protected using a password linked with Trash's other accounts, which indicates that Trash and not another employee was behind the partition. We now learned that the password he used was the same for all of his bank accounts. His fucking bank. Oh, it was somebody else. Timeline in Exhibits 3 and 4 demonstrate that Trash was the only one using the computer in May to download CP, and throughout the day texting his family and using the computer for other uses. Discussion of Trash committing SA when he was a teenager. Trash's lack of movement within the past 17 months does not necessarily mean he isn't a flight risk, but these circumstances are different. Nature and seriousness of the danger to the community. He is a danger to the community. We know the extent and steps, this is all cut off, that Trash will take to hide his actions. We know the kind of material in the CSA that Josh had. We know that he has had a SA to children. Not sure if the Rebbers, Miss Rebber in particular, understands the task that she would have to take on as third-party custodians. Miss Rebber doesn't generally want to be alone with a male. They have guns. They have minors at their place for piano lessons. Doesn't make sense that they'd want to turn their entire life around to do a favor for a family friend. We know Trash has a history of hands-on abuse. We know how sneaky he can be. AUSA asks that he be detained. And we now know that should be packing, but here we go. This is part 3 of the entire Trash bond hearing. This hearing happened in May. His next court date is November 30th. So we're going to go over the defense's second witness. So the second witness is LeCount Reber, who is Maria's husband, has firearms in the house, but would be willing to relocate them outside the house, willing to serve as a third-party custodian along with his wife. That's it. Literally 3 questions. Okay. I have now learned that CX's cross-examination, thank you everyone, was aware of Duggar's charges specifically, was not aware of all the details such that toddlers and now we know babies were involved, but does not change his opinion of being a third-party custodian. Jim Bob was the one that reached out to him first, asked if it was something he could think about, pray about, being a part of. Do I need to say it? Duggar payroll. JB referenced Reber's involvement with prison ministry as making him a potentially good third-party custodian, has known the Duggars for 6 to 8 years, knew them in 2015, but didn't know the exact details, but was familiar with some charges related to him. Knew that the minors resided in the house where Trash resided and was not a part of the church in 2005. He has no hesitation leaving his daughter or wife alone with Trash, no implication that he would get anything in return for housing Trash. Volunteer chaplain at Washington County Jail, but that's been halted because of COVID-19. Not necessarily interested in offering counseling for Trash. Willing to call U.S. probation directly if Trash violates guidelines or conditions. Has phone internet and uses that for the computer. Funny because Trash's specialty is the computer, but okay. Says he's a 3 or 4 on the scale of 1 to 10 of tech savviness. Phone is locked with a pin. Irrelevant. Did not know Trash is tech savvy. Last time he spoke to Trash one-on-one was more than a year ago. Not sure if his wife has ever had a one-on-one conversation with Trash. It is common practice in your marriage that when your wife interacts with men, that there should be a chaperone there. I think that would be best. So why are you saying that she's comfortable with him being there alone if you don't want that? Okay. Says that his wife should be around Trash with another person, not necessarily male, could be a daughter. Sure, let's just, fucking put the whole family at risk. No big deal. It is a family. They discuss things. They both prayed and decided to do it. When a family is in need and they ask you for help, I think that's something that we would do. He irritates me. 100% irritates. Welcome back for part 3 of the Trash bond hearing from May. As always, here's a warning. Warning number 1 is that this will probably take 2 hours for them to push through. I did use 3-minute videos again. It's fine. I need to pack anyway, so as soon as I upload them all, we'll just wait. Number 2 is that the last part of the series goes over the defense second witness, the closing arguments, and the judge's decision. There are talks of CSAM, CP, child abuse, all of that. If this is something that you do not want to watch, no offense taken, I don't blame you. I 100% give you all free reign to come back later for book club. But just another disclaimer out there that yes, this does go over some pretty detailed stuff. So if you don't want to watch it, that's okay. We'll see you later. Love you, family. Bye.